As a gentleman from California, Mr. Carbajal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It shouldn't come as no surprise that I have serious concerns with both the deployment of the National Guard and the Marines to Los Angeles. I served in the Marine Corps. We are trained to be war fighters, not for crowd control. Everyone here should be alarmed that the President has sent armed forces into a city against the wishes of a governor and mayor. I am concerned this administration is purposely escalating the situation with this step and politicizing our armed forces in the process. Let's call it for what it is. It's political theater. Hegseth, are the Marines in Los Angeles ordered to protect property by any means necessary?
Sir, I would say the ICE officers and police officers being attacked is not political theater. The National Guard and Marines,
just yes or no. Just yes or no.
The National Guard and Marines have the full authority to protect federal ICE agents.
Yes or no.
Just,
can you just say yes or no? This isn't Fox anymore. Just yes or no.
They're there to protect federal agents and federal.
Another BS answer. Under the SRUF, the use of force, are Marines allowed to fire warning shots?
No.
Now that's more like it. Isn't that easy? Will you know, I'm going to beat this drum because you refuse to take responsibility. Will you take responsibility for having made a mistake? Not to mention many people would say break the law in participating in the Signal group chat that included a journalist, your wife, your brother, where classified information was shared.
Sir, every way I communicate is authorized. Every way
okay, if you want to say that. I have called for your resignation. I didn't think you were qualified before your confirmation, and you have done nothing to inspire confidence in your ability to lead competently. You broke the law in sharing classified information, and in doing so, endangered the lives of our service members that you are responsible for. Your inability to hold yourself accountable makes you incapable to lead. This alone makes you unfit to be the Secretary of Defense. Secretary, do you think the United States should continue supporting Ukraine in its fight against Russia, a nation that is hostile towards the United States?
Well, as you know, sir, President Trump is committed to peace.
No, I just want yes or no answers.
Today, the United States has spent billions of dollars.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Over years.
Just yes or no. Can I get a yes or no out of you?
We continue to send.
Come on.
Presidential drawdown.
It's that easy. Kindergartners can give me a yes or no. Yes or no.
Yes, we support peace in Ukraine.
Come on. Is this really leadership? You're an embarrassment to the United States. If Russia invades NATO allies, are you going to recommend to the president that we fulfill our Article 5 obligations?
Well, Russia has not invaded NATO allies.
No.
President Trump
No. I reclaim my time. Yes or no? It's that simple.
There's Article 5 in NATO, which we recognize.
So is the answer yes or no?
That's what Article 5 is, yes.
Good. I'm glad you brought yourself to saying yes. Do you think political allegiance to Trump is a requirement for serving our nation, either in uniform or a civilian in the department?
I'm incredibly proud, as are millions of Americans.
No. Not today, Hegseth. Yes or no?
Congressman, you know what a silly question that is.
But silly enough to warrant a very straightforward answer. Yes or no?
We all support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
You know what? I'm not going to waste my time anymore. You're not worthy of my attention or my questions. You're an embarrassment to this country. You're unfit to lead. And there's been bipartisan members of Congress that have called for your resignation. You should just get the hell out and let somebody competently lead this department.
Mr. Chairman, do we not have any decorum in here?
Thank you very much. I yield my time.
Gentleman yields back. And I would urge everybody to remember and maintain the decorum suitable for this chamber with their further comments.
This exchange between Congressman Salud Carbajal and Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth may have looked like a shouting match, but underneath the raised voices was a serious and consequential disagreement about how military power is used, who controls it, and what accountability actually looks like at the highest levels of government. To understand why this moment matters, you have to start with who was asking the questions. Carbajal is not just a member of Congress, he's a former Marine. That background matters, because when he says Marines are trained to be warfighters, not crowd control, he's not making a political point. He's making a doctrinal one. The U.S. military is deliberately structured to avoid being used as a domestic policing force, precisely because of the risks that creates to civil liberties and democratic norms. That's why the deployment of National Guard units and Marines into Los Angeles, particularly against the expressed wishes of a governor and mayor, immediately raises constitutional and historical alarms. In the United States, the use of federal armed forces inside a city is not routine. It's tightly constrained, politically sensitive, and usually justified only under extreme circumstances. When Carbajal called the move political theater, he wasn't dismissing the danger faced by law enforcement. He was questioning whether the escalation itself was necessary or whether it was designed to send a political message. This is where the hearing begins to break down in a meaningful way. Carbajal repeatedly asks Hegseth a very specific question about authority, not about optics, not about politics, about rules. Under the standing rules for the use of force, what are Marines actually allowed to do? That question matters because vague language like protect property by any means necessary can imply far broader authority than the law actually allows. When Hegseth initially avoids a direct answer, it reinforces concern rather than calming it. Only after sustained pressure does he confirm something critical. Marines are not permitted to fire warning shots. That answer is important because it quietly narrows the scope of their mission. It establishes that their role is defensive, limited, and governed by strict rules. In other words, the most inflammatory interpretations of their deployment are not supported by the actual use of force standards. That's not a minor clarification. That's the kind of detail that separates lawful presence from potential abuse. The exchange then takes a sharp turn into accountability, specifically around allegations that Hegseth participated in a Signal group chat that included a journalist and family members where classified information may have been shared. Whether or not the allegation is ultimately substantiated, the way it is handled in a hearing is crucial. Congressional oversight depends on witnesses taking responsibility, or at least engaging directly with accusations. When Hegseth responds by saying that every way he communicates is authorized, he doesn't actually address the concern. Authorization is not the same thing as judgment, and it's not the same thing as accountability. For lawmakers, especially those overseeing national defense, that distinction is not academic. Classified information is protected not just by rules, but by trust in the people handling it. As the exchange escalates further, Carbajal pivots to foreign policy, but again, the focus isn't policy preferences, it's clarity. Should the United States continue supporting Ukraine? Would the United States honor NATO's Article 5 obligations if an ally were attacked? These questions are intentionally framed as yes or no, not because they're simple issues, but because the commitments themselves are foundational. NATO's Article 5 is the backbone of collective defense. Ambiguity at that level doesn't signal nuance, it signals instability. When a defense secretary nominee hesitates or deflects, lawmakers hear something deeper, uncertainty about whether long-standing U.S. commitments are still firm. Eventually, Hegseth does affirm Article 5, but the delay matters. In national security, hesitation can be as revealing as refusal. Allies listen to these hearings. Adversaries do too. The final question, about whether political allegiance to a president is required to serve the nation, cuts to the heart of civil-military relations. The U.S. military is built on loyalty to the Constitution, not to any individual leader. That principle is drilled into service members from day one. When Carbajal presses this point, he's defending a norm that has kept the military apolitical for generations. By this stage, the exchange has clearly deteriorated in tone, but it's important to understand that the frustration on display is not simply personal. It reflects a broader breakdown in the oversight process itself. Congressional hearings are designed to extract clarity, establish records, and impose accountability. When witnesses resist that process, tension is almost inevitable. What makes this moment significant is not the insults that closed the exchange. It's the pattern that preceded it. Ambiguity about domestic military deployment, evasion on accountability, hesitation on alliance commitments. Together, those elements explain why this exchange resonated far beyond the hearing room. Going forward, this testimony becomes part of the official record. It can be cited in future hearings, referenced in confirmation debates, and scrutinized by both supporters and critics. Whether or not Hegseth ultimately leads the Department of Defense, moments like this shape how lawmakers assess judgment, temperament, and fitness for command. This is why hearings matter. Not because of the drama, but because they reveal how power is understood and exercised when it's questioned directly. That's what we break down here. If you want clear, fact-driven analysis of what actually happens in Congress and why it matters beyond the headlines, subscribe to Capitol Breakdown. We'll continue following every consequential Senate and House sitting so you don't just watch politics happen, you understand it.